Nah, buddy, I think I'll be ready. All right. Let's rock and roll. Oh no, the pressure, Aiden. The pressure's getting to me, buddy. Once I hear the music, I'll be ready, I'm sure. Where did this go? Oh. Did I press record? Oh, I did. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show on News Talk KEYS. No, I got it, buddy, but thank you. You angel. I swear I'll be ready.
Can you put some mics on, dude?
Alrighty. Dance it out! Dance it out! All right, my friends. You are listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show on News Talk KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM, Corpus Christi, Texas. And today is a very good day. Aiden in the box got a haircut, and we're all pretty excited about it. He's going to be having hot boy summer, right, Aiden? He's not by the microphone.
He's looking good.
Chad, why is it a good day for you?
Here comes the rain again. Something else.
We do have a cold front coming in, guys. Corpus Christi, we really do. Most people don't like the rain. We are A-okay for it because we don't get it that often. But we have had a few storms lately.
I'm tired of mowing my yard. It grows too quick. And mosquitoes too.
And quick is right. Like when our rain is so deprived, our grass is so deprived that once a little bit of rain comes in, it just goes absolutely haywire.
Also, it's Memorial Day weekend. So
I know.
Thank you to all those who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Honestly, yeah.
And
big deal.
Also, Texas passed a constitutional carry, which is kind of a big deal, I think.
Tell us more about it, Chad.
Well, now you don't have to have a permit to carry a handgun, a concealed weapon. Oh,
wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It'll be interesting. I think it's cool all around. Anything that protects and helps the Second Amendment is a good thing, especially to get it in the books.
Right there with you on that.
It's a lot harder to get off. I know me and you both, we took our concealed license together and we both have those, but you're still going to probably need a concealed license in order to go to other states that have reciprocity with Texas.
That is not an easy word to say out loud, especially on air. Everything's
reciprocity. I can say
reciprocity.
So I think you're still going to have that license, if you want to go to Utah or somewhere that has reciprocity with Texas where you can carry over there. But I think that's a pretty big deal. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Heck yeah. Good. Way to go, Texas.
Yeah, finally.
We're typically doing some good stuff.
I think we're the 22nd state now that has constitutional carry.
All right.
Way to be a little bit slow there, Texas.
It's okay, we got there anyways. That's fine. Are you gonna ask why it's a good day for me?
I was about to.
Yeah, that's full of lies. If you actually listen to this radio show frequently, you know Chad never asks me how my day is doing.
You always cut in before I can.
Well, because you're not supposed to have any silence on the radio. Which I don't have a big problem with doing that. So it's a good day because we are just 2 weeks away from the Art Museum, South Texas Art Museum's Heels and Wheels Artrageous fundraiser. I'm super excited. That's going on June the 10th. For some reason, they decided to let me and Alan Holt be the DJ or the MCs. Nobody should give me a microphone, honestly, but it is going to be a hellacious time. We're going to have a great time. Starts at 7:30. It's going to be at the Water Garden. It is fashion. It is drag. It is cars. It is music. It is sure to be a revved up night for your 2020 Texas Fashion Designer of the Year, Nick Perez, who will be making an appearance, and extraordinary drag queens Robin Valentine, Planet Matt, Alana Davis, and all around rock star Jackie Benson. Chad, you've heard Jackie Benson before, right?
I think you showed me some videos of her. Yeah, she was.
Dude, she's like the best. She's like the best guitarist. Just fantastic. I got to see her at ACL in 2019 and it was amazing. Now this event is being put on by co-chairs Adair Apple and Deanne Bouquet. I love Deanne. The Bouquet sisters, Deanne and Alexi, are some of my close friends. So I'm super excited about that. If you want to attend, like I said, there's going to be a car show. That's why we're talking about it. They asked me to jump on and help them collect a few eclectic cars. It's going to be a really cool show. I already have a little list of the vehicles that'll be there. I'll tell y'all next week what you'll be seeing. Now, if you want to attend, and I think you do, because not only is it going to be a really good time, it's also for a very good cause. South Texas Art Museum is a big deal, and to support your local museums is your responsibility.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Didn't it get flooded?
Yeah, I did during Harvey, but they're back. They did. Yeah, they handled that really well. So if you want to buy tickets, check them out on Facebook. Go to the Art Museum's website. All available on Ticketmaster. Individual tickets starting at $50. Host tickets starting at $150. I think that the host ticket includes open bar. So that.
Nice.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's a deal. That's definitely, I can get $150 worth of open bar on a Thursday, that's for sure. So be sure to attend. You got any questions, call the Art Museum too. Also, the official Artrageous after party is immediately following at the bus.
Oh, okay.
I know. So I'm super excited about that. I can't wait. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to tell everybody about. As far as what's going on in Corpus. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Okay, Noasis Brewing Company is having a car show on the 5th.
When is that?
Am I right about the 5th?
I don't know.
I think I am. Anyways,
I'm gonna agree with you.
We're gonna. Well, I really ought to have one of the guys pop on the show and force them into bringing me a michelada, because I haven't had michelada in a while. Mm-hmm. But that car show is a lot of fun. Now it is kind of, you got to be on time. There was a packed house during the last car show. Chad brought his MGB. I bought my 1965 Fat Mustang Fastback, and it was a really good time.
Yeah, it was a good turnout. A lot of cool cars.
It was eclectic.
Nice people. It's always good to go talk to everybody and get their car story.
Oh yeah, no, I had a terrific day that day. That's for sure. All right, well that's what's going on in the neighborhood. Anybody else have any questions about Outrageous or anything? Go ahead and text us at 882-5397. Now, why it's also a very good day is we are going to be talking all about the history of Studebaker. But before that, I just remembered another thing I wanted to talk about before we dive into it. So I was let's see, what was it? I don't know, Monday or Tuesday, I flew into New York for my real job where I get my paycheck and check on a few sites. But naturally, I completely snuck a few car trips in there. So they have this place called Cooper's Classic, which is pretty good. Honestly, they were full of Porsches this time. They had some rare 911s, Speedster.
What is it? What is Cooper's?
Cooper's Classics is basically a car sales room.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd been there like 3 years before. They were super nice to me. They had a really interesting 356. Well, it wasn't quite a 356. So apparently for 1 year, Porsche decided to go ahead and change their marketing within the U.S. market. Hoffman, the main importer over in New York, had said, hey man, Americans don't want to buy numbered vehicles, like 356, 911, blah, blah, blah. He said, you need to give them names. So Porsche said, okay.
Jeffrey.
Yeah. That would have been awesome. No, in this case, they gave it the Continental. For 1 year, and I think it was at 1953, the 356 was named the Continental until Lincoln found that out.
I would have gone with Jeffrey.
Yeah, Jeffrey would have been way better.
Yeah, Continental just, I guess it's...
Well, it was already owned.
Yeah. Sounds so American.
Yeah, they didn't really, there was no originality on that one. If they'd done a hint of research, they would have realized they were going to get themselves into a legal bind really quickly. And that's why it's only it was only done for 1 year. So that was interesting. I had never heard of that before. So that's, there was a really nice kid in the showroom that I think I had talked to 3 years prior that was informing me all about that.
What if he was just lying to you?
No, it actually said Continental on there, and no trace of Now, also what I did was I did sneak into and I say sneak, I did not sneak. I went during public viewing hours, but it felt like I was sneaking in there because there was nobody really there at the time. It was the Classic Car Club of Manhattan.
Ooh, that sounds like
Little toity?
Yeah.
Yes, it was a little toity, I'll be honest. But it was nice. So they popped in there. They had how that works is that members purchase a level of membership. They can also just have a club membership where they can just use the club facilities, which is like bar and a restaurant and stuff. But I mean, obviously you want to have a driver's membership, or else what are you doing that? What are you there for? But so different level, it sounded pretty darn expensive, I'll be honest. So I guess, but you know, Manhattan, they probably have, there are some folks that have the right money and the want. Different levels of membership could get you access to different types of cars. They had the new Corvette. They actually had a Mazda Miata all set up ready to race, which I thought was cool. That probably is the one that gets all the use and abuse. They had a few classics. They had a Kit Cobra, and they had Aston Martin, a couple of McLarens, a Lotus Evora, Rolls Royce, and I think it was a 63 Corvette, and what else? So it was it was eclectic. It was kind of cool.
You need to up your game, Manhattan.
Don't say that. They might be listening.
Oh,
Just kidding. I don't think
I'm
so.
Sorry.
No. But
Manhattan.
I thought it was a neat concept. It's kind of cool. All right, that's enough. I just want to talk about that.
Meet a whole bunch of like rich billionaire people and stuff, and brag about it and send pictures of it. No.
No. What are you talking about?
Okay, I don't want to.
Oh, Aiden's giving the old wrap it up sign. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show.
I've got a question for you. Do you have
You not want to talk about your billionaire friends?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure they would like their privacy. Anyways, all right, we'll get back on to Studebaker.
Yeah, I did not do any studying. But...
Well, I sent you notes.
Oh, you want to read those?
No shit, I did the work for you. That's what the whole point was.
Oh,
huh?
Those are yours.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I had a strong feeling for some reason that you weren't going to do any research, so I went ahead and did the research for you.
Why did you do all that?
Huh?
Well, I didn't know.
Did you really? Okay. Well, then good.
Well, I mean, some different areas. Well, I mean, I did.
Why do I not believe you on some of this?
I did stuff. I mean, this.
What? Where'd you get that nice to-go cup there? Oh, was that the hunt?
It was stolen at the.
They were giveaways. They're giveaways.
Well.
Yeah.
Me
All right, we'll dive into the. I think we'll have I definitely think we'll have enough time to cover all of Studebaker in the next 45 minutes. What is this? Oh. What is that? What does it say on the whatchamacallit?
619.
What are these? Those old photos. Oh shit, that was fast. Did Chad's inhalation just make it on air?
Allergies.
That is my co-host, everybody, Chad Shook, and you are tuning in to the Bad Blonde Radio Show on News Talk KUIS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM, Corpus Christi, Texas, featuring Chad's nose inhalations.
We're doing coke. I have allergies. I took an allergy pill before it still, but it's like.
No, I know. I woke up yesterday with a little raspy voice. And that's what's going on. Guys, if you're just now tuning in, we are going to be talking all about the history of Studebaker.
And if you'd like to comment or text us.
Do you know the phone number, Chad?
No, I was just giving you a segue.
You know what? Your co-host, you should literally know the text line.
5792?
No.
Dang it.
You were close, though. 882-5397.
I was I had 7.
No.
I think I had a 7.
You had something. You had the configuration
8.
incorrect, but you had the numbers. Whatever's. It's pretty close. What I did talk about in the first hour, or the first half, was the upcoming Heels and Wheels outrageous fundraiser for the South Texas Art Museum, which I'm going to be emceeing along with Alan Holt, which, we're going to be pretty ridiculous. I can imagine that is just going to be an absurd duo. They really shouldn't give us all microphones. Anyway, they should just give it to Alan, and then I just kind of smile by him. I'm kidding. So that's going to be June the 10th, 7:30 to 10:30. There's going to be a little car show. There's going to be a drag show. There's going to be music by the Jackie Vinson. She's a big deal. I'm really excited about having her there.
Yeah, that sounds cool. And there's a 50-50 chance that Alan Holt will MC the show.
What does that mean?
Oh, I'm just kidding. That's what the weather people always say.
Oh, that was a good one. So, Alan, everybody listening is from Corpus Christi. Alan Holt's a really good, funny
weather meteorologist.
Yeah, he's a cool guy for sure. So I'm excited to MC with him. Now let's go ahead. Should we dive into the history of Studebaker? I was thinking earlier. I was talking with Greg Smith. I was like, there's obviously the age demographic that's listening to 1440. Is older, but I think if there's rare chance there's a millennial, they'll have no idea they've never heard of a Studebaker.
Don't lump the listeners into a group. Jeez.
Do you think there are like 21-year-olds listening to 1440 Keys right now?
Probably.
All right.
Probably very offended.
I genuinely doubt that. But I hope they are, because now they are going to learn all about Studebaker. Yes. Now, Studebaker was founded in, if Studebaker was still living, still around, still manufacturing, they may have been one of the oldest American car manufacturers. 1852, They were founded in 1852.
It's an interesting story because they were big.
They were big. They were really big. And then that just goes to show, we're jumping ahead of ourselves, but it goes to show if you have the wrong folks in charge, you too can go from big to defunct within 100 years. So, Studebaker was founded in 1852 by the Studebaker Brothers. Started as a coach builder, manufacturing wagons, buggies, carriages, harnesses, all that fun stuff. So there were 5 sons. There were 5 Studebaker brothers, all right? Henry, Clement, John, Peter, and Jacob. I feel like all of those are biblical except for Clement.
Yeah, whoever really got that name. Clement.
They were changing the postman at that point in time. So this family, it's actually really interesting. This family has like a long history of wagon building. So the father came over from Germany in like 1736, documented immigrant as a wagon builder, and he quickly worked his way up. So I don't know if he came over with money or saved up money, but they bought a ton of land in what we know today as Maryland. And that's where some of the first Studebakers were being built.
Studebaker wagons.
Yeah.
I also read he was making a lot of horse-drawn carriages and wheelbarrows and stuff that were all going over to California for the gold rush.
Yeah.
That propelled him a lot too. I guess his wheelbarrows and wagons were highly esteemed in the gold rush era.
Well,
they must have
shoot, man, that's what they needed. That was
Find yourself a good wagon.
That's what I'm saying.
A good woman and a good wagon. That's all you need.
Oh, somebody should put that on.
It's a lot easier to get a good wagon.
That was, you're on fire this morning.
I know.
Maybe it was that big inhalation you just had earlier. All right. They were very successful and soon would jump into the automotive arena in 1902 with electric vehicles following gasoline vehicles in 1904.
Isn't that crazy? 1902, their first vehicle is electric.
Exactly. Well, that's what that's what I've been saying for a while, is that so many folks think that electric is the future. It's always so been the past.
Yeah, Back to the Future.
Why it didn't, if anybody's wondering why, how did we have a dip and there was no electric vehicles for a while? Well, electric vehicles were a viable option. You had electric, gasoline, and steam engine in the very first years of the automotive arena. However, when you think about it, do you think there was no electricity going out into those very rural areas back then?
And battery technology and everything was
not as.
I mean, they had an electric vehicle. How far would it go? Probably not very far. Probably a mile or two.
Exactly.
And
well, it went longer than that.
Okay.
It went farther distances, but you couldn't leave a city center. You couldn't, like, it just was not.
You can only drive as far as your extension cord.
100%. Now, actually, and also just a little tidbit, I'm going to digress slightly. Now, electric vehicles were highly marketed to women because they didn't have the crank start. The crank start was dangerous.
It really actually was.
Yeah, no, I mean, so one crank start, one gentleman who was friends with Henry Leland, who started Lincoln, died as a result of a crank start accident and injury, and so that's why Henry Leland created the electrical
starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can kick back and whack you in the head.
It broke the guy's jaw, and then an infection set in. So, okay. So back to Studebaker. It's so easy to digress. There's so much history to talk about. All right, so 1911, Studebaker completely ceases all manufacturing of electric vehicles. And yeah, I mean, like we already said, why that happened was there just was not enough of a community set up to where electric vehicles could be supported, or a grid, I should say, a grid setup. Now, let's fast forward to World War I. Studebaker is rolling in dough. They are rolling in orders from the British government. They got like 3,000 transport wagons ordered, 20,000 artillery harnesses, which, what does an artillery harness look like?
Radio. I just wanted to say radio. I
say one thing about the British government. 60,000 artillery saddles. They got ambulances being ordered, cars, etc. This is all from the British government, but they also have very similar orders coming from France and Russia. So sounds like we were doing pretty good monetarily over here during World War I.
Yeah.
I mean, none of our manufacturing plants were getting bombed like they were over there.
No, the Studebaker's original manufacturing plant burned to the ground.
I did not know that.
Yeah, like within a couple of days of being built.
Shoot.
Yeah.
That's bad luck right there. That's bad luck. So during this time, we can talk about the Three Musketeers. Did you hear about the Three Musketeers time period at Studebaker? This is a nickname that was given to three Studebaker engineers: Frederick Morrell Zeder, Owen Ray Skelton, and Carl Breer. I'd like to thank Carl Breer for not having a middle name, for goodness sake. Like, honestly.
Yeah, whenever they read the middle name off like that, it's always a serial killer anyway, so.
Right? Yeah, one of them, his middle name is Ray, and I think that's a statistic right there. So anyways, these guys were kind of like the whiz kids, but over at Studebaker, the Ford had their whiz kids, and also they were there a little bit earlier on. These guys would later be picked by Walter Chrysler and play a pivotal role in the founding of the Chrysler Corporation. It's interesting, I read further on those dudes, and they actually had known each other since like an early design courses in college, so they stuck together. The Three Musketeers worked harmoniously together. They launched the very successful Studebaker 1918 models. It was 1919, right, that World War I started in 1914?
I'm not going to play Trivial Pursuit with you on the radio.
You know that I like to do that.
I don't know.
No, okay. It was 1914 until 1918. So these were coming out right after, and it's always good for an automotive manufacturer to have new models ready to rock and roll after a war. World War I, World War II.
Especially a world war.
Yeah.
Not just a regional skirmish.
All right, Aiden's cueing the music. That means we're going to take a very small break, guys. Y'all stay tuned listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show on News Talk KUYS. We are talking all about the long history of American manufacturer Studebaker. Dance it out!
What is the number again?
Dude, it was like...
I hear it. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
What were you saying?
What is the number?
882-5397. And I'm not even checking that. I should really do that.
Yeah, you should.
I was doing stuff.
How do you even check it?
I'm going to send you the link. Go to zipwhip.com. Oh, we haven't got anything. Zipwhip.com.
Oh, you need to say this on the radio because you have to say that.
Huh?
You have that thing.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't know the actual password. I'll have to get it from Doug. But it's zipwhip.com.
Well, if I can't get on it, then don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, I always forget that we're videotaping. What you got in there?
Espresso?
Really?
Yes.
Give me some.
No, it's not espresso.
I did not want to wake
Plus, you probably have COVID.
I did not want to wake up. Nobody has COVID anymore.
It was all a lie.
I mean, a little bit. The fact that now it's like, oh, everything's fine. You can wear that. You can do this. You don't have to do that. Yeah, it's a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, I heard New York was starting to.
Yeah, I mean, mostly back. I mean, people are still wearing their masks inside of places until they order a drink, but bars are open up pretty much to capacity for the most part. Shit's normal. Was it ever really here? I don't know. It was, but probably not to the extent of everybody's real concern.
Well, that's good. I still wear my masks sometimes.
Good.
I don't do.
All right, you're officially in charge of saying our text line. How about that, sports fan?
882-5797.
882-5397. You got that? So naturally, we're going to have to talk about Raymond Loewy.
Well, we better get on it.
Fuck. I know. Time's just flying. Time is flying when you're talking about a wagon builder. I think I'll see Aiden pop up. Right? No, there's nothing. I wonder why. Do you want to come to Outrageous?
Hey, Corpus Christi,
It's gonna be fun.
Radio that's about you. It's time to take control.
Are these actual reviews?
When you own things with wheels and motors,
We have a music review.
being more than half your
The Island Moon.
it's very, very difficult to prosper financially because $30,000 cars turn into $8,000 cars in about a idling.
Oh.
It's the Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays, noon to 2 on News Talk KEYS, 1440 AM and 98.7 FM.
Yeah.
The Good Market is back at Oasis Brewing Company, downtown this
Why don't you talk about that?
benefiting Bikes for Kids. Stop by from 2
Well, I
to
guess they're
7
already
and
talking
check out
about
over 40 vendors showcasing their art, handmade crafts, vintage and thrift items, vegan and organic goods, jewelry, and so much more. Music provided by Low Fire Die and sponsored by Youth Bistro, House of Rock, Frescoes, Tokyo, and Oasis Brewing. Come out and help Bikes for Kids at the Good Market this Saturday at Oasis Brewing.
The Good Market.
Or you want to talk about that? It was hard to get these details right. I need to figure out if I got the Oasis Brewing's car show thing correct. Ooh. They got cider now. All right, June 5th. 10 car entry fee. Okay, good. So they have an entry fee this time. Last time they didn't have an entry fee. And so it'll probably drop the amount of people that are showing up, which they needed. Oh, dancing out, buddy. New haircut. All right, my friends. You are back listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show on News Talk KEYS, 1440 AM and 98.7 FM, Corpus Christi, Texas. Got my co-host Chad in here. I got Aiden over there doing the air guitar in the box.
Is he really doing that? I can't see.
Yeah, no, he dances all the time. Yeah, he's got a new haircut, guy. Aiden's feeling pretty fly. All right, now if you are just now tuning in, we are talking about one of America's oldest manufacturers, Studebaker. Started off making wagons and carriages and then began with an electric vehicle, as we always say. Electric isn't just the future, it was also the past, and I'm not saying it's actually the future either.
Yeah, don't be silly.
That's not what I meant. What I meant to say is that folks always think it's the future, but it's also been there in the past, and it didn't succeed for a reason. But we can have a little scattering of electric combustion engines, all that, you know what I mean?
Give it a shot. But
It's not the perfect solution everybody thinks it is.
No, it's not.
No, not at all. Anyways, so
perpetual energy is the only way to go.
So Studebaker started off with an electric vehicle. They stopped that. They moved to cars. They really made a couple of big bucks doing orders across British government and France and Russia? Russia. So they were banking. And then now we're talking about post World War I, where they have the Three Musketeers design team. 3 young men that worked harmoniously together. They knew each other since college, and they launched the very successful Studebaker 1918 models.
And they all had pencil mustaches.
Yeah, they did. Hey, that was the time. That was what was in.
I thought that's why they called them Three Musketeers.
Sorry. So there were 1918 models that really pushed Studebaker through the door. Was the Light 4, the Light 6, and the Big 6. They really took all their creative juices on the design and not on the name.
Not on the name.
Big.
Little 6.
Baby 6.
Bigger 6.
Yeah, no, seriously. So in 1919, Studebaker completely stopped making any horse-drawn carriages and focused solely on automotives, all right? Branching into buses, fire engines, and small locomotive kits.
I think they started booming pretty good, huh? 90% being paid out to shareholders.
Right? I know. I saw that. I was like, hot dang, booming. So that, when they were booming in the 20s. Dun, dun, dun.
The roaring 20s.
Yeah. I mean,
hopefully we're not in the roaring 20s right now.
I hope not.
Whoa, did you ever think about that? Mind blown.
Yeah. Well, we got a few more years. We have till about October of 2029 if we are repeating our fate.
Oh.
And if that happens, I'm just going to go buy myself a load of bunny rabbits, chickens.
And eat bunny rabbits and chickens?
Well, they reproduce pretty darn quickly.
That's true.
I mean, I'm going to sell them out to, that's what our grandfather did during the Great Depression. He was the one that he raised and sold bunny rabbits throughout his neighborhood. And that's going to be my strategy as well.
It's not a bad strategy.
No. All right. So, like Chad said, Studebaker was booming in the 20s. 90% of their dividends being paid out to shareholders. But we all know what followed the 20s. And few folks were prepared for the Wall Street crash of October 1929. And Studebaker certainly wasn't. All right. They had to make massive layoffs, etc. But they did adapt, they tried to adapt quickly. Not successfully, though, might I say. They began making plans for the Rockne. Do you think I'm pronouncing that right? It's Rockne.
If you think she's pronouncing it right, or if you don't think she's pronouncing it right, you can call or text us at 882-5397.
Wow, Chad. Okay, I just want everybody to know he has the phone number written out in front of him, so it's not like he did any amazing feat like I do when I remember that phone number off the top of my head.
It was the delivery, though.
You did do a good job on delivering. You're in charge of mentioning our text line. So good. All right. Now, like I said, they tried to adapt quickly, begin making plans for the Rockne, which was a new, small, and low-cost vehicle. But even at that time, Great Depression, even a vehicle that's cheap still wasn't selling. So that was a big bummer. And now this is kind of where, a lot of cars didn't make it through the Great Depression. All right. And this is where Studebaker starts tripping over its own feet. Okay. At the helm of Studebaker during the Great Depression was Albert R. Erskine, all right? He kept the faith in the Rockne, and he thought sales would increase, and he made a big error in judgment to have Studebaker directors declare huge dividends in 1930 and 1931. He also, during this time, bought an absurd amount of inflated stock from the White Motor Company, which would consequently put Studebaker in the hole to the banks for $6 million. That was a darn pretty penny back then. Still a very pretty penny right now in 2021. Yeah. So, with all of those stumbles, in March of 1933, the board pushed Erskine out of the presidency of Studebaker. And 3 months later, he would go on to kill himself.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I bet a lot of people offed themselves during that time period.
He also just drove one of the premier United States automotive manufacturers in the bankruptcy. So
yeah,
he had a lot on his mind.
Yeah, he probably did. Now, Studebaker would work themselves out of debt and into profit by the end of 1933 and survive the Great Depression, when really so many car manufacturers did not. They did not survive. Like Pierce Arrow, which was one of the 3 Ps of luxury, including it was Pierce Arrow, Packard, and Peerless. I don't think Peerless made it out of there too. Cord did not survive, and I need to have Dotson on talk about his Cord soon. Cord was like one of the first supercars, all right, an American supercar. Along with Cord, naturally, Duesenberg and Auburn failed too. And why that is because they were all owned by the same gentleman, all right? That was E.L. Cord. He owned Duesenberg and Auburn, and I'm still sad that that's not, that they didn't survive. Those are rock star vehicles. Beautiful. And performance.
Everything looks the same now anyways. So you just have 40,000 car manufacturers that all make the same looking car.
Who knows? Who knows? That may have not been the fate. Also, Franklin did not make it past the Great Depression. Franklin was an American automaker. There's a really cool Franklin Museum that's located in Tucson, Arizona. If anybody ever goes to Tucson, check out the Franklin Motor Museum. It's one of my favorites. It literally looks like you're driving into the desert, into nothing, and then you pull up to some guy's home, which my mom would be furious to hear this story. But yeah, so I went, and the museum was awesome. It was just this really nice old guy that just like put his heart and soul into these Franklins. It's fantastic. So I have a special spot in my heart for Franklins. All right, now, I'm so good at digressing. I'm just so good at it. Now, let's fast forward to World War II. At this point, Studebaker ranked 28th among United States corporations in the value of wartime production contracts. Studebaker did really well during war. Maybe they would have survived if we had a World War III.
Maybe.
Which would have been freaking terrible.
Maybe we wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, nuclear war. All right, so during World War II, Studebaker produced the Studebaker US-6 truck in large quantities. And they also made the M29 Weasel
and
cargo.
That was a good-looking cab-over truck they made.
Right?
It was good-looking, a real dependable truck for the time. But it looked really cool, too, so that helps.
Looking cool helps in any arena. That's for sure. They had an assembly plant in California, Studebaker Pacific Corporation. They were building engine assemblies and for B-17s and PV-2 Harpoons. So they were bombing. They were booming, and consequently making things that can do bombing. All right. Now the interesting thing is, so during World War II, all American car manufacturers were ordered to cease any in-house designs on new cars and focus solely on the war effort. However, and you know who I'm going to talk about in a second, Chad.
Lowe.
Yeah, Mr. Raymond Lowe. Now, however, Studebaker actually, they did have an in-house design team, which naturally they couldn't work on that. If you're wondering why our government would put such restrictions, it's because they wanted everybody focusing on the war effort completely.
Yeah, good.
We were trying not to become Germany over here.
You had GE and all types of Singer, the sewing company, making 1911 pistols.
Yeah.
GE was making Liberator pistols.
Super fascinating.
All types of crazy stuff.
However, Studebaker had an out-of-house design team run by Raymond Loewy as a design consultant, and thus they were still able to be designing a car during the war. And it was going to be a big deal to have an all-new vehicle right after World War II because there was some serious demand for cars at that time. Like there were wait lists after World War II. It was crazy. Now, definitely, we're going to have to talk about Mr. Raymond Loewy, but we're going to talk a little bit about Virgil Exner's stuff. That was their in-house guy, all right? Can you say Virgil Exner 5 times fast?
Nope.
No?
For Virgil Exner.
Virgil Exner. All right. So anyways, post-World War II, Studebaker was prepared to rock it. for the anticipated market burst in automotive sales. They had the 1947 Studebaker Starlight Coupe ready to rock and roll. That's a beautiful car. I really like it. Now, some of the styling cues featured the flat-back trunk instead of the tapered look that was real popular at the time. And then they had a really dope wrap-around rear window. If anybody's by their computer and they want to Google the Starlight Coupe, it's awesome. Coupe. That rear window is something else.
Yeah, Studebaker had some real distinct designs.
Right?
Definitely only Studebaker. And I don't know if that was Lowy inspired or what, but they're very distinct.
Yes, I think so, definitely. Now the flatback trunk that they would be the first to put out in the market would clearly go on to influence later cars. All right, that was mostly done by Virgil Exner, who was the in-house Studebaker, like we said. His designs included the Studebaker Starlight Coupe, the Studebaker Champion, and the Commander. I like the Commander's pretty awesome.
You mean the Dictator?
That too.
They made one that was called a Dictator too. On the Commander.
I don't think that's the time period to create a car that's named the Dictator.
Well, that's why they went away from it. Because of Hitler. Yeah.
Good Lord. Now, some folks either loved them or hated them, all right? These cars were, I guess you could say, polarizing, all right? The running joke from the new trunk design prompted that no one could tell if the car was coming or going. I really liked the Commander. I thought it was awesome.
And if they don't know if you're coming or going, it really helps with like a quick escape too.
That's totally the case, though. All right, guys, we are going to start talking about the Starlight Coupe and the fall of Studebaker when we come back from the break. Stay tuned, listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show. It's getting hot in here.
Did anybody text?
Huh?
Did anybody text?
Not a soul. We're so unpopular.
Unbelievable.
Inconceivable. Man, look at this big fish this guy caught. It's a trout. That's huge. Wow. Oh man, I'm excited to have a relaxing day. I did not want to wake up this morning. I did not want to come and talk on the radio, but here I am. Talking on the radio.
I need somebody to text in. Where are all your friends that are listening?
Like I said, nobody from my generation is listening to this. Not one bit.
The good market is back.
I'm gonna have to bring my guitar and play some songs.
This Saturday and is benefiting Bikes for Kids.
Yeah.
Stop by from 2 until 7 and check out over 40 vendors showcasing your handmade crafts, vintage and thrift items, vegan and organic goods.
Who the hell is
jewelry,
talking?
and so much more. Music provided by Low Fire.
Aiden!
Sponsored by Muse Bistro, House of Rock, Frescoes, Nokia, and Oasis Brewing. Come out and help Bikes for Kids.
So the
Aiden!
maybe other people recording.
Whose voice was that? Yeah, whose voice just did that recording? For the
Sign up today for the 9th annual Stash Dash.
Just let me check. It's not like recording.
I don't recognize that voice on anybody that works at the radio station. Not like it matters, but I'm curious.
Maybe that was Victoria? Was it?
Nah, it was a dude. It was like a young dude.
A young dude? Oh, I didn't even hear it. I'll have to check after the show.
Do you even pay attention to this radio show, mister? Oh shit, man, that's short break. All right, hello my friends, you are back listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show on News Talk KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM, Corpus Christi, Texas.
And if you have any questions or comments about the Studebaker, you can get in touch with us through
Don't read it off.
5397.
You need to memorize that.
Text or call.
You don't get a pat on the back unless you memorize that phone number, all right? Chad's officially in charge of reminding folks to text into the question line. We do have a comment by Mr. Paul Johnson, and he said, "Hey, is that the same Raymond Loewy that you made a radio show on a few months ago?" And yes, he's correct. He is talking about the father of streamlining, the father of industrial design. If you wanted to watch that past episode that's on the Bad Blow on YouTube, it's also on the SoundCloud on 1440 Keys. Thanks for remembering that. Appreciate it. Okay, let's get back to talking about the history of Studebaker. If you're just now tuning in, Studebaker started in 1852 by 5 brothers. They created some really rock star wagons and carriages. They moved into electric vehicles for a few years. They also started to go down combustion engines, go down the road of combustion engines, and hit a couple. They were really booming anytime we had a war. And now we're about to start talking about the fall of Studebaker, which had it survived, it would have been one of the longest running American manufacturers. Wah, wah. I genuinely get a little bit of my soul taken away anytime I talk about a car manufacturer going defunct.
Yeah, well, they didn't. They fled to Canada, didn't they? So
They did.
Fully defunct, but they did have a huge impact.
Wait. Are we getting ahead of ourselves?
I don't know.
Because we got to talk about Raymond Loewy.
Okay.
Where were you going?
I have no idea.
Okay, that sounds about right. Okay, all right, guys. So it's post-World War II. We have Raymond Loewy, who is a out-of-house design team for Studebaker. All right, that, like I said, that's the father of industrial design, the father of streamlining. That man was prolific. He literally created the Postal Service logo, the Exxon logo, the Shell logo. His designs are everywhere. Lucky Strike, all of it.
Yeah, he was cool. He did a lot of neat stuff.
He did. He transformed the look of the locomotive, Greyhound bus, designed our modern sewing machines, created what you know of a popcorn machine as. His career was over 70 years long, and it isn't surprising that many of his designs are still visible today.
No, it's not.
Nope,
and he looked like Tony Stark's dad or something.
Yes, on the real. I can completely agree with that. All right, now for Studebaker, Raymond Loewy would assist in creating the Starlight body. This car had a rear window that wrapped 180 degrees. I already talked about it a little bit, but it looks super cool. If you're by a computer, go ahead and Google the Studebaker Starlight. He also helped with the well-known Studebaker bullet nose of the early 50s. That Starlight is still considered one of the best designed cars of the 1950s. Now, also in the 1950s was when Loewy and Studebaker stepped away from each other for a bit, mostly because they couldn't afford him. This is kind of where they started running into financial woes, but that was not before he transitioned the Starlight and the Starlighter coupes into the Hawk series. And the Hawk series started in 1956. George has a Skyhawk that I'm going to make a video on. I'm going to do that this weekend since it's raining and I ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah, good looking car.
It is a good looking car.
Quick cars too for their time.
Yeah, totally. Now let's go ahead and hit on Studebaker's financial woes. They were suffering car sales. They were also having some quality control issues, which that kind of goes hand in hand. You got quality control issues, you're going to consequently probably have car sales issues.
Yeah, people get mad when their stuff starts falling apart or
furious.
The door panel, you pull on the door panel and it falls off in your hand, whatever.
Rightfully, right? So, they weren't selling much cars. They were also ballooning labor costs. And to top it off, Ford and GM were having price-cutting wars amongst themselves. That whole war between Ford and General Motors really had a negative effect on all the other small automotive manufacturers because they're like, wait, guys, stop cutting costs. Or stop cutting prices. This is negatively affecting every other automotive manufacturer in the industry.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how we see that with the rise of Facebook and Amazon being able to squeeze out whatever businesses they want just because they have the power and money.
Yeah, exactly.
To be going, we can do that. We do that way cheaper for a little bit until that business goes away.
I
and
know.
then we'll just take them over and jack up our prices.
Well, us as consumers just need to be smart about that. We need to understand, spend your money local, it stays local, and everybody benefits from that, that's for sure. Now, in 1954, Studebaker would negotiate a deal with Packard. And at the time, Packard was smaller and in a better place. But that would not be for long because this did not work out. Apparently, Studebaker kind of made it seem like they were in a better place with cash flow than they really were, and then Packard got in. We got 6 minutes. Oh God, Chad, I'm not even near it. All right, let's go back. Let's move forward to the Avanti. All right, now the Avanti was way ahead of its time. Studebaker dubbed it America's only 4-passenger high-performance personal car. I can personally vouch that the Avanti is one bad a vehicle.
I think it was the first production car that would go 170 miles an hour.
Yeah, I think it was
the supercharged one.
Yeah, it was the fastest production car in the world on its introduction, reaching 178 miles per hour. Now, the thing with the Avanti, guys, and this is what breaks my heart, is that the Avanti was supposed to save Studebaker. Supposed to get them out of their slump, compete with Henry Ford and the Deuce and his whiz kids and all that stuff. But, it was just too little too late.
They were really interesting looking cars.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love the Avanti. I love parts of it, but
I can understand that. It's unconventional.
It's very Raymond Loewy.
Yeah, 100%. It is very Raymond Loewy. Now, like Chad said, the looks aren't for everybody. I personally like the Avanti because I'm just weird and I can find beauty in just about any kind of weird car, especially if there's a unique background. But like I said, the Avanti was supposed to save Studebaker. However, it was just too little too late. They were already in a financial slump, and they also did not do as much marketing as they should have for this car. And finally, after insufficient sales of the 1964 models, and they ousted President Sherwood Egbert on 1963, the company announced the closure of their South Bend plant, and the last Larks and Hawks were assembled on December the 20th, and the last Avanti was assembled on the 26th. Now, what's interesting, like Chad had said earlier, mentioned Canada, like people were really big fans of the Avanti. So there was a Studebaker dealership that actually purchased the rights to Avanti.
Well, I think they also moved some of their manufacturing to Canada because I think they owed a lot of money, but the company, I think, was still solvent technically.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Everything was consolidated at Studebaker's last remaining production facility in Canada. Yeah.
But that was a big blow for South Bend, Indiana also.
No kidding.
Studebaker manufacturing plant was
like a top support, like
employed
employer.
cities.
Oh, 100%.
For the city.
It's a tremendous impact on cities when a manufacturer closes down. So they moved everything to Canada. Well, they consolidated to Canada, which had always, that site had actually always been profitable. Studebaker planned on producing a few more cars under the leadership of Gordon Grundy. What a name. And it was projected that Canadian operation actually could break even if they produced 20,000 cars a year. And Studebaker, their goal was to get to 30,000, all right? Well, that didn't happen. And they were just shy of that 20,000 mark, which would have, like I said, that would have brought them even. But the company's directors were like, no, this isn't cutting it. Profits are too small. We're not going to continue this investment. And officially, Studebaker left the automobile business in 1966, March.
So they had a good run. They went 1899 to 1966. They made over 180,000 total vehicles.
Wow.
Of like military implements, cars, and everything. And they also offered 31 different models, as best as I could find. They made 31 different models of everything.
We should be proud of that American manufacturer right there.
That's not a bad run.
No, not a bad run at all. You know what? Did you see about the potential link with Nissan and Toyota? That was super interesting. No, so it was like a last-ditch effort. Gordon Grundy, who was running Studebaker Canada, sent some management off to Japan to see if they could get some potential links with Nissan and Toyota. First, they reached out to Nissan. Basically, they wanted to import Nissans and then put Studebaker badges on them. All right. Now, Grundy was negotiating with Nissan, and then the board of directors. Oh my gosh, the music. All right. Well, anyways, apparently both Nissan and Toyota were offended that Studebaker was reaching out to both of them, and that didn't go through. That could have saved. Although it would have been really bunky to have imported cars just slapping a Studebaker, the American badge on them. Would have hurt a little bit. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. You want to rewatch, you want to listen to any of the old episodes that we have on the show, check out the Bad Bull on YouTube. Make sure you tune in every Saturday at 10 a.m. See you next time. Whoop, whoop. There was also rumored to be a Studebaker graveyard. Did you see that? And it was confirmed to be true. It was a remote, heavily wooded site bounded by the proving grounds at Studebaker's manufacturing site. Most of the prototypes were left to rot in direct contact with the ground, full exposure to weather and falling trees. When they tried to get some of the bodies out, it resulted in the bodies crumbling under their own weight.
Because they're stupid.
Crazy.
Well, that's pretty dumb. But...
Thanks for watching.